What would happen if you stopped reacting to every thought and instead learned to guide them like a wise friend? You try to focus, but the more you resist, the louder it grows. Why does something as invisible as a thought feel so heavy, as if it controls your peace, your choices, even your destiny? The mind is everything. What you think, you become. If this feels all too familiar, stay with me. In this video, you'll uncover the hidden power of disciplining your thoughts, not through force, but with wisdom. Don't miss out. At the end, there is a powerful bonus lesson that will change how you face every thought. And before we begin, subscribe to Deep Wisdom, where every video is a doorway to calm, clarity, and timeless Buddhist insight you won't find anywhere else. Let's dive in. 1. Stop fighting with your thoughts. A restless mind often feels like a battlefield. You try to silence it, but the more you fight, the louder it grows. Have you noticed this? The harder you resist a thought, the stronger it clings to you. Like trying to push away a shadow, the effort only deepens your attachment. The Buddha said, "What you resist persists." When you understand this, a great weight lifts. You no longer have to fight your own mind. Think of a river. When water is forced against rocks, it churns, crashes, and builds turbulence. But when it flows freely, it becomes calm and clear. Your thoughts are the same. To resist them is to create pressure. To allow them is to return to peace. Imagine trying to hold back flowing water with your hands. It only slips through your fingers and gathers strength. But when you let it move, it finds its natural course, and so do you. You are not your thoughts, you are the witness of them. Just as clouds pass across the vast sky, thoughts move across the expanse of awareness. The sky does not resist, it simply allows. In the same way, when you stop fighting your mind, you create space for serenity to arise. Can you feel that possibility? The truth is simple. Awareness itself is never disturbed, only the passing content seems restless. Close your eyes for a moment. Feel the next thought rise like a wave on the surface of the ocean. See it take shape, notice its pull, and then allow it to pass without struggle. Another thought may come, and another, but you remain the stillness beneath the waves. That stillness is your true self. That is where peace begins. So ask yourself, which thoughts do you fight the most? Is it the memory of a mistake? The fear of failure? The endless loop of worry about tomorrow? What if you didn't need to wrestle with them anymore? What if you could simply watch them appear, knowing they have no power unless you hold on? This is the secret. Discipline of thought is not about suppression, but about awareness. It is the training of the mind to see without clinging, to allow without judgment, and to rest without struggle. And when you do this, life becomes easier, because peace is no longer something to chase, it is something you are. Master your mind not by force, but by compassion. Control your destiny not by silencing thought, but by watching thought with wisdom. Remember, a restless mind invites chaos. A disciplined mind commands peace. Today, choose to witness rather than resist. Trust the flow, trust awareness, and you will discover the ease that comes when the mind is free. For when you discipline your thoughts, life becomes not only easier, but infinitely more peaceful. Would you like me to continue with the next principle in this same tone and style so we can build the full script step by step? 2. Thoughts are visitors, not prisoners. A thought enters your mind, and instantly it feels like it belongs to you. You believe it is yours, permanent, defining. But pause for a moment. If thoughts are not you, then who are you? This is the gentle riddle of the mind. The truth is that you are not what you think, but the vast space that holds all thinking. Just as a room remains unchanged, no matter how many guests walk in and out, your awareness remains untouched by the thoughts that pass through it. We give thoughts power when we treat them as permanent residents instead of passing visitors. Fear, worry, anger. When they arrive, you build houses for them in your heart. You mistake their presence for your identity. But they are only guests. Like clouds shaped by wind, they form for a moment and dissolve just as quickly. The sky is never defined by a single cloud. It is the open space that holds them all. And so are you, the spaciousness beneath every passing thought. When you see thoughts for what they are, you no longer feel trapped. You welcome them as you would welcome a traveler, kindly but without attachment. Come and go when you must. You don't chase them and you don't cling to them. In this, you discover freedom. Imagine your mind as an open sky and thoughts as birds flying across it. Some soar gracefully, others dart and stir the air, but none can change the sky itself. That is your true nature, spacious, calm, and free. So reflect. When was the last time you mistook a thought for truth? Perhaps a moment of doubt that told you, I am not good enough. Perhaps a memory that whispered, this pain will never leave. Yet hasn't time shown you that these voices were never permanent? They were only weather, storms that passed, leaving the sky clear once again. How would your life change if you began treating thoughts like weather? Temporary, shifting, and never fully in your control. Wouldn't it be easier to let them move without resistance? Wouldn't your heart feel lighter knowing that no storm can stay forever? The discipline here is not in controlling what comes, but in recognizing what doesn't last. Buddhist wisdom reminds us, a passing cloud does not define the sky. The practice is to see yourself not as the content of thought, but as the awareness that holds it. And once you rest in that awareness, no thought can imprison you, for you realize you were never the cage. You were always the open space. Ask yourself now, can you sense the stillness behind your thoughts? Can you notice the space that quietly holds them, unshaken? This is where true peace resides. The next time a thought arrives, don't resist, don't chase. Simply greet it and let it leave when it must. This is the art of disciplining your mind, not by force, but by freedom. For when you see thoughts as visitors and not prisoners, you reclaim your peace. You walk through life lighter, freer, unbound. And in that freedom, life itself becomes easier, like a clear sky after the passing of a storm. Would you like me to continue and build Principle 3 in the same way so the script becomes a flowing journey of wisdom? We'd love to hear your thoughts. If you're not sure what to say, just type, "My thoughts shape reality." 3. Why overthinking is a mask for fear. Have you noticed how the mind begins to spin when the heart feels unsure? Suddenly, every detail is magnified, every possibility analyzed. You replay conversations, predict outcomes, and prepare for dangers that may never arrive. This is the mask of overthinking. Beneath it lies fear. Fear disguises itself as thought, hoping to protect you from the unknown. But in truth, it does not protect, it imprisons. Overthinking is the mind's attempt to control what cannot be controlled. It is like a spider weaving endless webs. The more it spins, the more entangled it becomes. Fear whispers, if you keep thinking, you will be safe. But safety never arrives, because thought cannot guarantee certainty. Instead, the web only grows thicker, suffocating the mind until peace feels unreachable. But here lies the shift. When you acknowledge fear without feeding it with endless thought, you begin to break the cycle. Fear, when seen clearly, loses its disguise. You realize that it was never the thoughts themselves that bound you. It was your belief in them. Just as shadows vanish when a light is turned on, so too does fear dissolve when you face it with awareness. Take a moment now. Breathe deeply. With every exhale, feel the tension melting away from your body. Let the breath remind you, you are safe here, in this present moment. The mind may chase control, but the body knows peace in stillness. The heart knows safety in presence. Uncertainty has always been here, and yet you have always survived it. Ask yourself gently, what fear hides behind your racing thoughts? Is it the fear of being rejected? The fear of failing? The fear of losing what you love? When you see the fear behind the thought, compassion enters. You realize the mind was only trying to protect you, though clumsily. Overthinking is not your enemy. It is fear in disguise, asking for your kindness. Now reflect. How does control feel when you release it? Imagine unclenching your fist after holding it tightly for too long. There is relief, there is softness. That is what happens when you stop overthinking. The grip loosens and life begins to flow again. What if, instead of fearing uncertainty, you befriended it? Uncertainty is not a curse, but a teacher. It is the space where possibility is born, where growth takes root, where new paths open. The Buddha's wisdom reminds us that clinging to certainty is suffering, but walking with openness is freedom. The discipline of thought here is not about calculating every step, but about trusting the path beneath your feet. To breathe through uncertainty, to trust life's unfolding, to remember that peace is not in controlling tomorrow, it is in embracing today. So the next time your thoughts spin in circles, pause. Place your hand over your heart. Feel your breath. Whisper gently, I am safe in this moment. Let the spider web dissolve. Let fear be seen, and in that seeing, let it go. For when you discipline your thoughts, even fear bows before your calm awareness, and life becomes far lighter than you ever imagined. Would you like me to continue building Principle 4 so we can complete this spiritual journey step by step? 4. Discipline creates stillness, not struggle. Discipline is often misunderstood. Many imagine it as a rigid whip, forcing the mind into submission. But true discipline in the Buddhist sense is nothing like punishment. It is a gentle guide. It shows the mind where to rest and where to let go. It is structure, not struggle. When you see it this way, discipline becomes the path to stillness. Think of a lake at dusk. If the water is restless, disturbed by ripples and wind, it cannot reflect the moon or the stars. But when it grows calm, when the ripples soften, the entire sky is mirrored in its surface. Your mind is that lake. Thoughts are the ripples. And discipline is the quieting of unnecessary movement so that truth can appear. Without stillness, wisdom remains hidden beneath the surface. With stillness, clarity shines effortlessly. A disciplined mind is a calm mind, not because it is silenced by force, but because it is guided with care. You do not need to suppress every thought, nor fight against every distraction. Instead, you learn to place your attention gently, like guiding a candle flame away from the wind. In that subtle redirection, peace is born. Ask yourself, where in your mind do you need structure to feel safe? Is it in the chaos of worry? Is it in the noise of constant comparison? Discipline offers safety by teaching you when to release what drains you and when to focus on what uplifts you. It is not the prison of the mind, but the liberation of it. For when thoughts wander endlessly, they lead to exhaustion. But when guided kindly, they lead to serenity. Now reflect, how can discipline feel like care instead of control? When you choose to sit in silence each day, even for a few minutes, that is not punishment. It is an act of love for your soul. When you pause before reacting in anger, that pause is not rigidity, it is compassion. Every small practice of discipline is a gift to yourself, a reminder that peace is possible here and now. Visualize for a moment a lake at dusk. See the last light of the sun fading, the wind softening, the water slowly growing still. As the stillness spreads, the moonlight appears, reflected perfectly in the calm surface. This is your mind on discipline, not empty, not forced, but spacious enough to hold beauty. What would peace look like if your mind slowed its movement? Wouldn't your days feel lighter? Wouldn't your heart breathe more deeply? Discipline is not about controlling life. It is about creating the conditions where peace can naturally arise. Just as a gardener doesn't force a flower to bloom, but clears the weeds and waters the soil, discipline simply prepares the ground for peace. So let discipline be your kindness, not your cage. Let it be your guide towards stillness, not struggle. For when you choose discipline with gentleness, your mind becomes like the lake, calm, reflective, and filled with light. And in that stillness, life truly becomes easier, because peace no longer hides from you, it lives within you. Would you like me to continue shaping Principle 5 in the same meditative storytelling so the script flows into a complete journey? We'd love to hear your thoughts. If you're not sure what to say, just type, "My thoughts shape reality." 5. The art of gentle redirection. What if, instead of battling with your thoughts, you simply redirected them? Too often, we try to conquer the mind with force, believing discipline means suppression. But true discipline is gentler than that. It is not a hammer that smashes thoughts into silence. It is a hand that guides them, like turning a flower toward the sun. Where attention flows, energy grows. This truth reveals the essence of mindful living. Whatever you feed with attention becomes stronger. If you pour energy into fear, fear multiplies. If you pour attention into kindness, kindness expands. Your mind is a garden, and every thought is a seed. Discipline is choosing which seeds you water, which flowers you tend, and which weeds you leave to wither. Consider a river flowing downstream. When it meets rocks, it does not crash endlessly in frustration. Instead, it bends gracefully, finding a new path, still moving forward. That is the art of redirection. You don't need to suppress or destroy negative thoughts, you can guide them. Anger, when redirected, can awaken clarity. Fear, when softened, can teach compassion. Doubt, when met with patience, can grow into trust. Ask yourself, which negative thought could you gently redirect today? Perhaps the voice that says, "I am not enough." What if, instead of resisting it, you turn it toward compassion? "I am learning, and that is enough." Or the thought, "Everything will go wrong." Instead of feeding its fear, guide it toward trust. "Whatever comes, I will meet it with courage." This is how redirection transforms the energy of your mind. Self-compassion is the key. Without it, redirection feels like struggle. With it, redirection becomes natural, like a soft breeze nudging leaves into a new direction. No force, only gentle guidance. Discipline with kindness is sustainable. It does not drain you, it restores you. Can you feel the difference between fighting your thoughts and guiding them? One leaves you exhausted, the other leaves you free. Buddhist wisdom teaches that the mind is trainable, not by punishment, but by awareness. Every time you notice a thought and choose to guide it toward light, you are practicing true discipline. Over time, your mind learns new patterns. It grows accustomed to peace instead of chaos, compassion instead of anger, clarity instead of confusion. This is not suppression. This is transformation. Imagine the freedom of living this way. When negativity arises, you no longer panic or drown in it. You simply redirect. Like a bird adjusting its wings to the wind, you change your path without resistance. Slowly, steadily, your entire inner world shifts toward peace. So let today be the day you practice the art of gentle redirection. Do not fight the river of your mind. Guide it. Do not silence the voice of fear. Transform it. And as you do, you will see that discipline is not harsh control. It is compassionate guidance. The moment you master this, life truly becomes easier, for peace becomes your natural state, flowing effortlessly from within. Would you like me to now continue into Principle 6, adding deeper momentum and a spiritual turning point in this meditative journey? 6. Why letting go opens the door to wisdom. What if peace is not found in control, but in surrender? The mind loves to grip, to hold tight to every thought, every story, every fear. It believes that clinging will keep you safe. Yet the tighter you hold, the heavier you feel. Like a hand grasping sand, the more you squeeze, the more it slips away. Real peace begins not in control, but in letting go. To let go is to invite wisdom to bloom. This truth is simple, yet profound. When you stop grasping at thoughts, you create space. And in that space, something deeper arises: insight, clarity, understanding. It is like a seed. As long as it remains locked in its hard casing, it cannot grow. But when the shell breaks, when it releases, roots extend into the soil and life begins. Your wisdom too sprouts when you loosen the shell of rigid thought. Consider how much of your suffering comes not from the thought itself, but from the grip you have on it. You replay an insult again and again, holding it as if it were part of your identity. You cling to an old fear, carrying it like a stone in your pocket. But when you release it, even for a moment, you feel lighter. This is the doorway to freedom. Letting go does not mean erasing the past or ignoring the future. It means choosing not to be imprisoned by them. Take a breath now. As you exhale, imagine setting down the burdens you carry. Feel your body soften. Notice how release feels in your chest, in your shoulders, in your mind. In the space that opens, there is calm. And in that calm, there is wisdom. For wisdom is not noise. It is the quiet guidance that arises when the mind is no longer crowded. Ask yourself, what are you holding on to that no longer serves you? Is it the echo of a past mistake? The weight of someone else's judgment? The fear of what tomorrow may bring? What guidance might arise if you simply let it go, even for a little while? Often, the answers you seek do not come from holding tighter, but from loosening your grip. Visualize seeds cracking open beneath the soil. Their roots push downward, their shoots rise upward, all nourished by the freedom of release. This is what happens in your own heart when you let go. Your inner wisdom, long dormant, begins to grow toward the light. Buddhist teaching reminds us, wisdom does not come from filling the mind, but from emptying it. In stillness, truth reveals itself. When you trust the process of release, you open yourself to guidance from within, a guidance that is always gentle, always steady, always leading you home. So let today be the day you practice surrender, not as weakness, but as strength, not as loss, but as freedom. For when you let go, you do not fall, you rise. You step into the vast space of your own awareness, where peace waits patiently and wisdom blooms like a flower finally touched by sunlight. Would you like me to carry this flow into Principle 7, deepening the mystery and giving the script a turning point energy? 7. The subtle power of present awareness. Anxiety often feels like a storm in the mind, doesn't it? It spins between what has already passed and what has not yet arrived. Regret drags you backward, worry pulls you forward, and in the tug of war, peace is lost. But here is the secret. Life never lives in the past or the future. Life only unfolds in this breath, here and now. Presence is the temple where peace resides. This is why the discipline of awareness is so powerful. When you bring your attention to the present, anxiety begins to dissolve. The stories of yesterday and tomorrow lose their grip because they cannot survive in the stillness of now. Imagine dew settling gently on a leaf at dawn. It softens the harshness of the night, revealing freshness and clarity. So too does awareness soften the weight of thought, giving you the gift of clarity in this moment. To practice presence is not to escape life, but to finally enter it fully. Each time you notice your breath, each time you feel the ground beneath your feet, you are stepping into reality as it is. Here, there is no regret, no fear, no endless chatter, only the living truth of this moment. Ask yourself, when did you last fully inhabit the present moment? Was it in the laughter of a friend, the stillness of nature, the rhythm of your own breathing? These moments remind you that peace is never far. It is waiting patiently beneath the noise, ready to be touched the instant you return to awareness. Now, close your eyes and take one conscious breath. Feel the coolness of morning air brushing your skin as you anchor yourself in this breath. Inhale deeply, exhale slowly, and notice, in this exact moment, there is no battle to fight, no burden to carry, only presence. The mind may try to wander, but the breath gently calls you back again and again. How does the mind react when you stop chasing what's gone or what's yet to come? At first, it resists, restless in its habits, but with patience, it softens. The waves of thought begin to quiet, and the still waters of peace appear. Can you sense it now? The calm that emerges when you rest fully in awareness. Buddhist wisdom teaches that a disciplined mind is not one that never wanders, but one that gently returns over and over to presence. Each return is a victory. Each return builds strength. This is the subtle power of present awareness. It transforms anxiety into peace, not by force, but by truth. So let your practice today be simple. Bring your attention to the now without judgment. Breathe with awareness. Let go of the stories and rest in the moment. For when you discipline your thoughts to stay here, life becomes easier, not because problems vanish, but because peace reveals itself as the ground beneath your every step. Would you like me to now continue into Principle 8, giving it an even deeper spiritual momentum, like a turning point in this meditative journey? We'd love to hear your thoughts. If you're not sure what to say, just type "My thoughts shape reality." 8. Thoughts as seeds, what you water grows. Every thought is a seed. Some hold the fragrance of peace, others carry the weight of fear. The mind, like fertile soil, does not discriminate. It will grow whatever is planted and nurtured. This is why repeated thoughts often become reality. What you focus on, you water. What you neglect, you starve. Over time, this quiet tending shapes the entire landscape of your life. What you water will bloom. What you starve will wither. This is not just poetry, it is truth. A garden left untended does not stay empty, it fills with weeds. And so too does an undisciplined mind fill with worry, doubt, and distraction. But when you care for it, when you choose deliberately what to nourish, it becomes a sanctuary of clarity and beauty. The practice of discipline is simply the practice of gardening within. Think for a moment. Which thought patterns are you unknowingly feeding? Perhaps it is the quiet voice of comparison, whispered so often that it feels like truth. Or maybe it is the habit of replaying failure, watering it with attention until it overshadows your successes.
These weeds do not appear overnight. They grow slowly, fed by unnoticed focus. Awareness is the first step to pulling them out. Now, imagine instead choosing your seeds with care. Plant gratitude and water it daily with small acknowledgements of beauty around you. Plant compassion and nourish it with kind actions toward yourself and others. Plant clarity and strengthen it by returning to presence when the mind wanders. With time, these seeds will grow into towering trees of peace, offering shade and refuge for your spirit. Visualize yourself in this inner garden. Each morning, you water the flowers of patience, trust, and wisdom. You watch the weeds of anger and fear wither from neglect. Slowly, the air clears, the ground softens, and your mind becomes a place you long to dwell, a sanctuary rather than a storm. Can you feel the difference already? Ask yourself, what new seeds could you plant today? Could you plant a thought of forgiveness where resentment has long rooted? Could you water a thought of courage where fear has spread unchecked? Each small choice matters, for discipline is built not in grand gestures, but in daily tending. Buddhist wisdom reminds us that the mind is shaped by what it repeats. If you continually water peace, peace becomes your nature. If you continually water gratitude, joy becomes your home. This is not theory, it is the living reality of inner practice. So let your discipline be that of a compassionate gardener. Choose what to water, choose what to release. Each thought you nurture is a step toward transformation. And as your garden of mind blossoms, you will see life becomes easier, lighter, and more beautiful, because you have learned to grow peace from within. Shall I continue into Principle 9, shaping it as the deep culmination of this journey, where all the threads of discipline, awareness, and peace weave into one? 9. When intention aligns with action. When thought, word, and deed move together, the scattered pieces of life fall into place. Discipline is not only about taming the restless mind, but about aligning the whole of your being, heart, purpose, and behavior, so they flow as one. When your intention is clear and your actions echo that clarity, you no longer feel torn between what you desire and what you do. Alignment turns desire into destiny, and each step becomes lighter because it carries the power of integrity. A river flows smoothly when its banks are steady. Without structure, water spills into chaos. With harsh confinement, it loses its natural grace. The same is true of life. When intention and action are in harmony, you move forward effortlessly, like a river guided by steady banks. The current carries you without strain because there is no inner conflict, no double life of thought saying one thing and behavior doing another. Ask yourself, where are your actions out of sync with your intentions? Perhaps you wish for peace, but your habits feed restlessness. Perhaps you long for love, yet your words carry impatience. In these gaps between thought and deed, suffering arises.
It is not the world that divides us, but our own lack of inner alignment. To close this gap is to discover freedom. Discipline here does not mean punishment. It means acting from clarity, not compulsion. It means aligning your daily choices with your deepest values, so even the smallest action carries meaning. When you drink water with gratitude, when you speak truth gently, when you move with kindness, you are practicing discipline that brings harmony rather than struggle. Visualize the river's current moving effortlessly between its banks. Can you feel the steadiness, the trust, the flow? There is no need to fight the water, no need to push it. It knows its direction because it is held and guided. This is the gift of alignment. Life moves through you rather than against you. What would it feel like to act from inner peace? Imagine each word you speak flowing from compassion rather than haste. Imagine each decision guided not by fear, but by your highest purpose. Imagine a life where nothing is wasted because everything is in tune. This is not perfection, it is presence. Buddhism teaches that intention shapes karma, but intention alone is not enough. Only when intention becomes embodied in action does it bear fruit. When the seed of thought grows into the flower of deed, you taste the fragrance of peace. So today, ask yourself, how can your thoughts, words, and actions move together? Let your purpose guide you gently, and let your discipline be the bridge between what you wish for and what you live. When alignment becomes your practice, life becomes not a struggle, but a flowing river, carrying you toward freedom with ease. 10. The mind's whisper, trust it or fear it. There is a quiet voice within you, softer than fear, gentler than doubt. It does not shout or demand attention. Instead, it whispers, like the faint rustle of leaves in the stillness of night. Yet so often, this voice is drowned out by the anxious clamor of the mind, the endless noise of what-ifs and worries. Fear is loud, but wisdom is subtle. The discipline of thought begins with learning to distinguish between the two. Why do we ignore the quiet nudges within? Because fear masquerades as protection. It shouts about danger, about failure, about what could go wrong. Meanwhile, the whisper of wisdom offers direction, but without force. It is like a firefly in the darkness, small, delicate, yet capable of illuminating your path if you trust it. Discipline, then, is not the silencing of the mind, but the art of listening deeply enough to hear what is true beneath the noise. Think back to a moment when you ignored your inner voice out of fear. Perhaps you knew the right step, but doubted yourself. Perhaps you stayed where you were safe, even though your heart longed to move forward. Notice how fear pulls you into hesitation, while intuition invites you into quiet confidence. This whisper does not promise certainty, but it always points toward growth. To trust it is to step into the unknown with courage. To ignore it is to remain trapped in endless cycles of overthinking. When you discipline your thoughts, you create the stillness needed to hear the whisper clearly. Like a pond calming after a storm, clarity emerges when the ripples settle. In that stillness, the guidance is always present. Picture tiny lights illuminating a forest path at night. Each step you take reveals the next, but never the whole journey. This is how intuition works. It does not show you the entire road, only enough for this moment. Yet when you trust it, the path unfolds naturally beneath your feet. Ask yourself, what happens when you begin to trust small nudges instead of doubting them? You discover that life supports you more than you imagined. You realize that the whisper is not separate from you. It is the wisdom of your own awareness. It is the mind's gentlest voice, aligned with truth. Sit with uncertainty, but listen closely. The whisper will not lead you astray, though it may guide you where comfort cannot. Choose courage over doubt. Choose to listen, even when fear grows loud. For the mind's whisper is not weak. It is the quiet strength of your inner clarity, waiting patiently for you to trust it. When you honor this guidance, life no longer feels like a struggle against the unknown. It becomes a dance with it. And in that dance, every step becomes easier, lighter, and filled with peace. We'd love to hear your thoughts. If you're not sure what to say, just type, "My thoughts shape reality." 11. The freedom in not knowing. Peace is often mistaken for certainty, as if knowing the outcome of every step would free the mind from restlessness. Yet the truth is softer, more mysterious. Peace does not arise from clinging to answers, but from relaxing into the unknown. The mind craves control. It seeks to define and predict. But life is far too vast to be captured by the nets of certainty. Growth happens not when everything is clear, but when you are willing to walk gently into mystery. What if peace isn't in having answers, but in embracing uncertainty? Think of a blank canvas stretched before you. At first, it may feel intimidating, empty, undefined, waiting. Yet in that emptiness lies possibility. Every color, every stroke, every form that could ever exist is hidden in that space. The unknown is not your enemy. It is the womb of creation. The Buddha taught that clinging is the cause of suffering. And what is clinging if not the desperate grasp for certainty? We hold tightly to plans, to identities, to outcomes, believing that safety lies in control. But the tighter we grip, the more fragile we feel. Letting go does not mean carelessness. It means trusting that life carries its own wisdom, even when the path ahead is not revealed. Ask yourself, what fears arise when you face uncertainty? Is it the fear of failure, of loss, of making a mistake? These fears are natural, yet they grow louder the more we resist them. Imagine instead welcoming uncertainty as a field of new beginnings. In not knowing, you are free to explore, to create, to grow without the weight of rigid expectation. Visualize a blank canvas breathing with possibility. With each gentle stroke, new colors blend softly under your touch. This is the art of living, meeting the unknown not with fear, but with creativity and openness. When you discipline your thoughts, you guide them away from panic and toward curiosity. Instead of asking, "What will happen to me?" you begin to ask, "What might I create here?" How can letting go of answers invite creativity and peace? It gives you permission to live with wonder. A child does not demand certainty before playing. They step into each moment with openness, and joy follows. You too can return to this innocence, where the unknown is no longer a threat, but a gift. Trust that life's uncertainty brings expansion. Every time you release the need for control, you open the door to wisdom greater than your own planning. What unknown possibilities are waiting for you now? Perhaps the peace you are searching for does not lie in knowing, but in allowing. To rest in uncertainty is to rest in the truth of life itself, ever changing, ever unfolding, and always carrying you toward growth. Bonus lesson. Mastery is compassion, not perfection. Discipline often carries a heavy image, rigidity, harshness, or punishment. Many believe that to master the mind, one must fight it into submission. But Buddhism teaches us another truth. Mastery is not perfection, but compassion. A disciplined mind is not a beaten one. It is a mind that has been guided with patience, care, and love. True discipline is born not from fear of mistakes, but from the kindness of understanding. Why do we confuse discipline with harshness? Perhaps because the world has taught us to strive for perfection, to measure our worth by achievements and flawless control. Yet perfection is an illusion. It binds the mind in restlessness and judgment. Compassion, on the other hand, is spacious and forgiving. When you meet your thoughts with gentleness, discipline becomes a path of nourishment rather than struggle. Imagine a gardener tending fragile shoots. He does not shout at them to grow, nor punish them for their slowness. Instead, he waters them daily, offers them sunlight, and protects them from weeds. Slowly, in their own time, they bloom. Your mind is no different. It blossoms not under pressure, but under patient, compassionate care. Each thought, even the difficult ones, can be met with kindness and gently redirected. Where are you holding yourself to unrealistic standards? Perhaps you demand constant focus, unbroken calm, or a mind free of negativity. But growth is never linear. Some days the mind will be restless, some days still, and this fluctuation is not failure, it is life. When you allow yourself to stumble, you also allow yourself to rise stronger. Discipline is not about never falling. It is about returning again and again with love. How can compassion deepen your practice of discipline? When you treat your thoughts with patience, you transform discipline from a prison into a path. The whip of judgment is replaced by the hand of guidance. You learn to correct without cruelty, to redirect without shame. And in this way, discipline becomes sustainable, because it no longer comes from fear, but from care. Visualize yourself watering young shoots each day, knowing they will bloom when ready. You cannot rush them, yet your presence ensures their growth. Likewise, when you nurture your thoughts with compassion, you trust their unfolding. Every step, every effort becomes enough. This is the heart of mastery, not force, but kindness. What would it feel like to treat your mind as a friend rather than an enemy? A friend you guide, encourage, and uplift. Discipline built on compassion creates not only a calm mind, but a gentle heart. And in this gentleness, peace arises naturally. Mastery is not about perfection. It is about walking with yourself in patience, trust, and love, until the mind reflects the serenity of a still lake under moonlight. Quick summary of the principles. Stop fighting with your thoughts. Resisting or suppressing thoughts creates more mental struggle and increases anxiety. Instead of silencing the mind, observing thoughts without judgment allows peace to naturally arise. Awareness is the key to stopping inner conflict. Thoughts are visitors, not prisoners. Thoughts are temporary and do not define who you are. By recognizing them as passing experiences rather than permanent truths, you can distance yourself from mental patterns and cultivate freedom. Why overthinking is a mask for fear. Overthinking stems from fear and uncertainty, not logic or control. It feeds anxiety and keeps the mind trapped. Learning to recognize this loop helps in addressing fear with courage and presence. Discipline creates stillness, not struggle. True discipline is not harsh control, but creating a space where calmness and clarity can grow. By gently guiding the mind, we can develop stability and inner wisdom without self-criticism. The art of gentle redirection. Instead of forcing thoughts away, discipline involves redirecting attention toward nurturing and healing ideas. This practice cultivates self-compassion and helps the mind flow naturally toward peace. Why letting go opens the door to wisdom. Letting go of rigid thought patterns creates room for deeper understanding and spiritual growth. Surrendering control invites clarity and insight into life's challenges. The subtle power of present awareness. Focusing on the present moment dissolves anxiety and helps the mind settle. By grounding attention in the here and now, peace becomes accessible without effort. Thoughts as seeds, what you water grows. Whatever thought patterns you nurture will grow stronger. Choosing which thoughts to feed allows you to cultivate a mindset rooted in gratitude, purpose, and calmness. When intention aligns with action, disciplined thoughts that are aligned with purpose lead to meaningful action. Acting from awareness rather than impulse creates a harmonious and fulfilling life path. The mind's whisper. Trust it or fear it. The mind offers subtle guidance, but fear often drowns it out. Learning to trust the quieter inner voice allows you to make decisions that are aligned with your deepest values. The freedom in not knowing. Uncertainty doesn't have to be frightening. It's a space where creativity and growth emerge. Accepting not having all the answers opens doors to new possibilities and deeper trust in life's flow. Mastery is compassion, not perfection. Discipline is rooted in love and patience, not in judgment or force. Treating your mind with compassion allows you to learn and grow without fear, making peace a sustainable practice. Let this be your reminder that peace is not something distant or reserved for the fortunate. It is woven into each thought you nurture and each breath you choose to take with awareness. When you discipline your mind, you are not suppressing its voice, but offering it space, guidance, and compassion. In this space, your life becomes lighter, freer, and more aligned with the deepest purpose that resides within you. It's in these small, mindful choices that transformation begins. When the mind is still, wisdom arises like the full moon reflected on a calm lake. This simple truth reminds us that clarity is not achieved through force, but through stillness, patience, and trust. The more you choose compassion over control, presence over worry, and clarity over chaos, the more peace will blossom effortlessly. It's not about perfect thoughts, it's about how gently you relate to them and how patiently you nurture yourself. Take this wisdom into your day. Every thought you water shapes the reality you live in. Ask yourself, where will I guide my mind today? How can I meet myself with love, not judgment? Can I trust that life's uncertainty is a space where growth, creativity, and peace can emerge? Like a Zen garden shaped with care and patience, your mind too can become a sanctuary, calm, purposeful, and free. Like and share this video, share your thoughts in the comment box, and subscribe to Deep Wisdom for more inspiring Buddhist insights on living a peaceful life.